Hey everybody, this is Kirsten here. Welcome back to the Balanced Vibes podcast. Today we are talking about hormones and how to maintain your hormonal balance after you have recovered from your burnout and also your hypothalamic amenorrhea. Because even though you have recovered, you have a regular cycle maybe now, you still have to know how to take care of your cycle and how to take care of your hormones, because as we all know, we are still pretty sensitive even after recovery, and it's not hard at all to mess things up again if we don't take the right steps to take care of our hormonal health every single day. But before we get started, I want to tell you about my new mentorship that is called Rebuild. You may have heard me talk about it already, but it's a really amazing mentorship program for those women who have already recovered from their burnouts, who are doing much better, who are sleeping better, whose periods are coming back every month, who are feeling more energized, and they don't have these issues that they had when they were still struggling with burnout. So they're now doing much better, but they want to do even better, and they want to learn how to start exercising again. So many women reach out to me and say, I just don't know how to do this anymore because I used to do so much before, and now I'm afraid if I go back there I will overdo it. And then there's another group of women who is terrified to start exercising because they think that they automatically mess things up again if they start exercising. So they want to move their bodies, they just don't know how. And in the Rebuild mentorship, we have a 12-week workout program where I tell you exactly what exercises to do, how to do them, how many sets and how many reps, and how to rest between your sets and also between your workout days. So it's very structured. It's very detailed, and I will not let you overdo it. We also talk a lot about nutrition, and not only in a way that, eat everything you want and just listen to your body, but we're gonna have really practical tools, how to know if you're full, how to know if you're hungry, how to deal with these thoughts that, oh, I think I should be eating more just in case, because otherwise what if I don't eat enough? What do you do in these situations? How do you truly listen to yourself and find that happy place, that middle place, and also so that you don't continue to overeat? And I've heard this from many women too, when they say that I just mindlessly, eat all my kids' leftovers, or I just mindlessly eat too much chocolate and I don't feel comfortable. I don't like that I'm doing this, but I just don't know how to not do it without dieting. So this program is going to offer this nice middle place, this middle ground. Of course, we're going to talk a lot about hormones, which is also the topic that I'm covering today, and literally everything you need to know about your hormonal health, how to maintain that after you have recovered. We have a really amazing guest speaker coming on this topic. We also have a self-care expert, because I know that many of us forget to take care of ourselves. We sometimes still struggle with body image. We still struggle with, feeling good about ourselves. So we also address all that, making sure that you really get really confident and really happy in your own skin and in your body, and become stronger and confident and really happier than ever before. And of course, we have an amazing community of about 10 women who are all in this group together and who are all working towards the same goals. And that's why I have the application process. I want to make sure that everybody who applies and everybody who starts this mentorship with us is really a good fit, because I want us all to be in the same place, or similar place at least, post-recovery, no eating disorder. If you have an eating disorder, definitely please do not apply. I cannot accept you. You have to have a menstrual cycle, and you have to have a really healthy attitude towards healing and towards your health and exercise and food and all that. So if you think that you might be a good fit for the Rebuild mentorship, then please apply. The application link and also the information page link is in my bio on Instagram, and then also in the description of this episode. So please go ahead and check that out. And if you think that you are a good fit for that, please apply. But today we are talking about hormones and how to balance your hormones after you have recovered? What are the things that you have to do? Because remember, your hormones are still sensitive. We want it or not, they're still sensitive after recovery. And I know that a lot of us see ourselves like, oh, I'm this badass, I can do all these things. And I can tell you, yes, you are a badass. You absolutely are a badass, but your hormones are sensitive. Okay. And a lot of other women who have never had these issues, who have never been overtrained or who have never been under eating to the point where the bodies just, stop working the way they should. A lot of these other women, they are not as sensitive. And for example, my best friend, I just talked to her about periods the other day, and I asked her that, have your periods always been super regular? And she says that, yes, I can't really think of any other time other than my pregnancy when I lost my period. And I just know that they're always 30 days sharp, and I almost always know that they show up at night. So she literally knows when the period is coming. And she said, yes, if I get like a 2-day fluctuation, I feel like something is probably off. But not everybody is like that. And for example, me personally, I'm definitely not like that. And I was never like that even before hypothalamic amenorrhea. So I want you to know that if that's you too, it just means that you are a little bit more sensitive to stress, and there's even more reason to really take care of your hormonal health and do what you can every single day to keep it in check. And also, I don't want you to be super scared if your periods are not very, very regular. Of course, you want to have them within normal range, within healthy range. But if there's a couple of days fluctuations here and there, then there's no like huge need to worry. But with these tips that I'm also going to share today, and that we're talking about a lot in the Rebuild mentorship, you can definitely improve your hormonal health. Today we're talking about one of the most important things that you have to keep in check if you want to keep your hormones healthy and your periods healthy, and that is your blood sugar. I have talked a little bit about blood sugar regulation in a couple of previous episodes, but never super in depth. And even today's episode, I'm not going to go super deep into science. I am going to explain the basics, but I'm not going to bother you with all the details about blood sugar regulation, what exactly happens. But I want you to understand that blood sugar is really, really important when it comes to our hormonal health and also our period health and also our ovulation. Now, I didn't know about the importance of blood sugar much before I started kind of digging into like what's going on with me, like why are my periods super, super painful. And I talked about it in this episode where I shared how I got rid of my period pain. So basically, I started looking at my blood sugar because I was enrolled in the Fix Your Period program. And I started realizing that, okay, my blood sugar really isn't as great as I thought it would, because even my fasting blood glucose in the morning, it was way too high, way higher than it should have been. So I realized that I'm actually dealing with a little bit of insulin resistance, and this is not great at all. And today I want to tell you a little bit more about blood sugar and why this is so important if you want to keep your overall health and hormonal health in check. Let's first talk about what happens in our bodies when we eat food. Now, every time we eat food, the food gets converted into sugar. And as a response to that rise in our blood sugar level, our pancreas then releases insulin. And insulin is a really, really powerful hormone. And its job is basically to open the doors of the cells of your fat, of your muscle and your liver, so that the blood glucose or the sugar can get in there. And once it's in there, it can be used as energy. But the problems happen if we spike our blood sugar levels all the time, or we eat foods that spike those levels too much. And then we also ask our pancreas to increase the insulin production. And we can end up with a situation where we have too much insulin in the body, excess insulin in the body. And this situation is related to many, many health issues. So if you have good insulin sensitivity, that's a great thing, because that means that your cells are ready to kind of let that insulin open the doors, and then the blood sugar gets in. If you have insulin resistance, it means that your cells are not sensitive enough and often don't let that insulin open the doors, and then the blood sugar cannot get in. And that's how we can end up with elevated blood sugar levels and also elevated insulin. Insulin is a really, really powerful hormone, And if insulin is in excess, there's too much of it, then also our cortisol is often elevated. And then when our cortisol is elevated, that can often mean that our sex hormone production is a little bit off too, which then can lead to either low progesterone or too high estrogen, which is known as estrogen dominance. And many women experience these issues and they don't even know what they are caused by, but these issues can be painful breasts, painful periods, irregular periods, anovulatory periods, cysts and fibroids, and even endometriosis. Even anxiety and depression can actually be caused by estrogen dominance. And it's interesting that a lot of times women they feel really bad, they feel really down, and they take antidepressants, whereas actually the key may be balancing your hormones. And of course, if you are taking any medication for your depression, don't now just stop taking them. This is not what I'm asking you to do at all. I am not a doctor, please remember that. But I'm just saying that a lot of times anxiety and depression can also be caused by underlying hormonal imbalance. One other thing that excess insulin can do is it can tell your ovaries to make more testosterone. And if this is the case, we may start having symptoms of PCOS. And these symptoms may be very irregular periods and also an ovulatory periods and very unpredictable periods. And of course, we all know that continuously elevated insulin levels can then cause type 2 diabetes down the line, but even smaller things that we can experience in everyday life, such as continuous sugar cravings or coffee cravings, or not being able to sleep, or waking up and not feeling energized and ready for the day. So these can all be signs that your blood sugar is unbalanced, and you may not even have ever thought about it, but it is worth checking if this could be the case. And there are a lot of things that you can do to balance your blood sugar, and I'm going to talk about them next. The first thing is, of course, your diet. And it's really important that with our diet, we get high protein and high fats, not only carbohydrates. I see this so much, and I think I probably sound like a broken record, but every time I look at someone's food logs, unless they are really fitness oriented or like very aware of healthy eating, their protein is really, really low. And just recently I've been looking at 2 food logs where I see that the protein is less than 20% even of the whole daily intake, and this is really, really low. So you really want to make sure that your diet has good fats and then good proteins and then good carbohydrates, and all 3 in every single meal. And of course, take care of your fiber intake, especially if you already have a little bit of insulin resistance. It's really important that you get enough fiber, and most people should get at least 25 grams per day, but the statistic shows that it's actually somewhere around 17 or 18 grams per day that people get on average. So we can definitely do better job at that. And eating enough protein just keeps you full longer. Eating enough fat and also fiber, make sure that the blood sugar spikes are not that high, and they just make you feel more satiated and satisfied. And ideally, you should be able to go at least 4, maybe even 5 hours before you need your next meal. So if you eat a meal and an hour after that you feel terribly hungry, then your blood sugar might be crashing. And then maybe it's time to look back and see, okay, what did I consume at my last meal? Was it really carbohydrate heavy? Was there anything else? Did I balance out my blood sugar spike? Did I have enough protein in it? Did I have enough fat? And did I get enough fiber with it? So make sure that your meals are well-rounded, that you get all 3 macronutrients most of the time, and also that your fiber intake stays high. The other thing is, of course, the types of foods. And this is where we can get into this discussion of, clean eating and not clean eating, and the dieting mindset and the clean eating mindset. I want you to know that the food quality really does matter. You don't have to be very, very obsessed about it. I mean, of course, the bigger issues you have, the better you should eat. But I don't think it's necessary to eat 100% clean, because that also brings its own issues. But I do think it is very, really important to eat whole, nutritious foods most of the time because they are much friendlier on your blood sugar. And I think we all know that when we eat a lot of sugary foods, I mean, that makes a lot of sense that these foods really spike our blood sugar. And also, if we eat foods that are just only carbohydrates, like we eat just bread, for example, or just bagels, and there's nothing to balance it out, then of course it is going to affect our blood sugar, and we have to take care of it and not approach it from this point of, oh, this is like a diet talk, or this is telling us to eliminate foods with no reason, but approach it from this perspective. Okay, what am I doing for my health? If you have problems with blood sugar regulation, then you just have to do the healthier thing. And that was me too, when I realized that my blood sugar is really affected by those, sugary sweets that I used to eat all the time. I used to eat so many protein bars. I used to eat a lot of chocolate, and sometimes like cookies and ice cream and all in one day. And I definitely also had a little bit more alcohol that I have these days, which also affects our blood sugar. So I made this choice for my health. And this does not have to be an obsessive choice. It does not have to be like, I never eat a brownie anymore. I just ate a brownie this morning and it's all fine, but it shouldn't be all the time. It shouldn't be super frequent because we cannot deny that food does really affect the way we feel and the way our bodies work, and they do affect our blood sugar. So make sure that you are eating decent meals that have all three macronutrients, and that you're eating mostly whole, nutritious foods that are really, really good for your body. And you can also notice this in your energy. I think we have all noticed that when we eat high sugar foods, then yeah, we feel good, or maybe we feel fine in the moment, but later maybe not so good. And we always feel much better when we eat plenty of vegetables and plenty of lean proteins and good quality fats. I think our energy is much better, and we feel so much better, and our bodies also respond much better. So this is about food, but what are the other things that you can do in order to keep your hormones healthy also after recovery? Exercise is one of these things, and this is why I really want us to understand that exercise is not that bad thing that we have to stay away from. I know so many women are very, very scared to start exercising, but exercise can also be very healthy for your hormones if you are doing it right. Okay, so the main forms of exercise that I recommend for somebody who struggles with hormonal imbalance, and especially has some insulin resistance happening, definitely strength training. You have to do strength training, and you also have to do relaxing activities such as walking or just casual fun bike ride or whatever makes you feel good. I don't know, dance or do something like that makes you feel good, that lowers your cortisol, lowers your stress levels. But lifting weights is very, very important for a better insulin sensitivity, and it should never be overdone. You should always listen to your body, and if you know that it's going to be excessive, I'm getting too tired, you are taking things in the wrong direction. But two most important things I would say for better hormonal balance are enjoyable exercise, and then lifting, and then walking. So these things should always be your weekly things, I would say. The other thing that I really recommend is acupuncture. And I can say that for me personally, it has been extremely helpful. It is just really, really calming. It's very, very relaxing. And I just know that even just from my mindset perspective, I am just lying down there. I just can't do anything else because you have the needles all over your body. You're not going to pick up your phone. You're not going to scroll your social media. You're literally doing nothing. You're just lying there and relaxing and letting the needles do their job. And of course, if you have a really good practitioner, they know how to make these things work for your hormones, and how to use these techniques, these Chinese medicine techniques to help with your hormones. So I really encourage you to find somebody who who does acupuncture, and see if this works for you. And the last thing that I have found is really, really helpful for balancing your hormones naturally is meditation or journaling or some other kind of spiritual practice that you are doing regularly. And it can be whatever works for you, just some time for yourself when you are disconnected from all social media and Instagram and all the worries in the world, and you just either write down your thoughts, or you sit in stillness and in quiet, or you do guided meditation, or you listen to some drumming, or you do yoga, whatever those things are that work for you. And it's so important, but at the same time so very overlooked. But we have to do these things because otherwise we just don't take time for ourselves. We don't take time to just relax and let our nervous system calm and kind of bring our bodies back to normal balance. So it's so important. I know we all want to just take a supplement or get some kind of quick fix, but sometimes meditation is your supplements. This is your fix. It may not be the quick fix, but if you do it continuously and consistently, then it can have a huge impact on your hormones because it really helps you to bring down the stress levels. This is all I have for you today on the topic of hormones and how to balance them naturally after you have recovered. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know if this was useful and if you'd like to learn more about this topic. Don't forget that Rebuild is open. The program, the mentorship for women who have already recovered from burnout, it is open and I can't wait to see your application. So thank you so much for being here and listening to this podcast. I will talk to you again soon. Bye.